5th District, Tom Garrett. Senator, good to have you, man.
John, I'm working with a voice right now that doesn't want to help me. How are you?
I'm fired up. I absolutely think Donald Trump last night did the right thing. You know what? He's not going to be pushed around. I'm tired of getting pushed around. Big media thinks they can dictate what's going on. National Review. Who are these people? I could care less. I think he did the right thing, and I think he's the guy that's going to stand up for average working Americans. Now, having said that,
let me interject here. I don't like to because I know you have a station in Goochland. But since Goochland's not in the 5th District, I would like to clarify that I live in Buckingham.
Okay, Buckingham.
Yeah, that's always helpful. I don't know whatever happened to Reagan's 11th commandment. I am probably more of a Cruz guy than a Trump guy, but I don't know why we carry the Democrats' water for them and attack a Republican candidate for the nomination. It makes no sense to me, and it's kind of shameful. When I was contemplating running for this seat, I told my friend Bill Stanley that he could expect me to say nothing bad about him, but plenty of good stuff about me, and I don't know why other people can't play by those rules.
Well, I tell you what, it was like last night they interviewed, and I didn't see all of it, once Trump pulled out. I think they had, Fox had Christian, and they had Rick Tyler, who's a friend of mine, worked in the Newt Gingrich campaign. He's the spokesperson for Ted Cruz, been on my show many times. Tyler blasting Trump for not being at the debate. You know, if I was Tyler, if I was the spokesperson, or if I was Ted Cruz, who also blasted Trump, I'd have said, look, I don't really care what he does. He decides not to come to the debate, fine. That gives me an extra, 7, 8, 10 minutes to be able to talk directly to the American people about what I'm going to do to get America back on track, and people decide from there. That's the way I would have handled it. But we know Thursday night they're all going to attack Trump. I think it's a waste of time. I think people need to hear what their plans are, and maybe this effort by Trump not going to the debate will backfire. We'll find out Monday night, right? By the way,
I think you're right. I really think that Trump will get more airtime not at the debate than he would have if he were at the debate. And I don't understand what's so darn difficult here. These people are all supposed to be gladiators in the arena of ideas. Let's hear what they believe and stop talking about each other.
Senator Garrett, let's get to what matters. Your congressional race right now, 5th District. How to replace the retiring Robert Hurt. I've got you as the overwhelming favorite, which is a good thing because my favorites normally win. What is the nominating process, and when is that going to be determined?
Well, we're angling to have a convention. It's tentatively set for May the 14th. That's not in stone yet. I feel good about our chances, whether it's a convention or a primary or a firehouse primary. But there are 3 reasons I support a convention here. Number 1, it removes the possibility for outside chicanery. Number 2, it'll cost the candidates a lot less money, which leaves a lot more money in the coffers to fight the Democrats, which is what we're supposed to be doing. And number 3, we don't have our hand out to the state for essentially election welfare to fund our nominating process, when we're quite capable of doing it for ourselves.
Okay, so what is the procedure of that decision being made, and when will it be made?
Well, each unit in the 5th District will come together in a 5th District meeting, and they'll vote on the nominating process. They'll vote on the nominating process, and then we'll have the final determination. Now, there's already going to be a 5th District convention on May 14th. The question is, will it be to nominate the congressional candidate? I think it will. But like I said, we're going to be fine either way. We need to block and tackle. We need to take a good, common sense, constitutional, pro-liberty message to the folks. I got another quote for you, John. This one kind of slipped out in subcommittee yesterday. I think you'll like it. This was accidental, and after I said it, I kind of smiled. Somebody said, well, there's nobody here opposed to this bill. And I said, well, the Constitution is not going to walk into this subcommittee and defend itself. That's my job. So, anyway.
I'm jotting it down. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Great quote. As always, you're like a quote machine, like the thing you get on the internet where you Google in quotes of the day, right? You could probably do that. That could be your second job. Let's get to this trade deal. go on the record if you're elected to Congress and this Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership comes up? Are you going to vote for it, or are you going to vote it down? Because you can't make amendments. Obama got fast track.
I'm opposed to it. I'll tell you what. I am a big advocate of free markets, okay? And they've pulled the wool over our eyes for years talking about free trade, but they've never begun to talk about fair trade. And the deck is always stacked against the United States and the American worker, particularly the blue-collar worker. You know, Southside Virginia, the 5th District, has been nailed by NAFTA. If you look at textiles, if you look at tobacco, if you look at furniture, all those industries have gone abroad under the ruse of free trade. I'm looking for fair trade, and this is not that. And somebody needs to stand up and differentiate between the two. And if you send us to Washington, we're ready to do just that.
All right. Well, that's what we like to hear, no doubt. I'm going to stick with Congress a minute. I want to go to the Employee Rights Act. There's a lot of federal issues that may not come across your desk, Senator Garrett, as a state senator. One of them is there's currently legislation in Congress called the Employee Rights Act that's sponsored by Utah Senator Orrin Hatch and my former congressman from Georgia, Congressman Dr. Tom Price. The bill provides important protections for workers, such as guaranteeing secret ballots in union elections or allowing union members to opt out of having their payment dues go to liberal organizations that they don't believe in. Now, as a candidate running for Congress, do you plan to back this legislation? And what do you think Congress can do to create more pro-employee legislation for workers?
Well, as a matter of fact, we do deal with this in the Virginia Senate. There is a right to work initiative to be put under the Virginia Constitution, arguably. I believe Mark Obenshain is the patron, and that's something I've always been strongly supportive of. It strikes me as hypocritical on one hand and disingenuous on the other, so two bad hands, to say the secret ballot's great in elections but no good in the workplace. And it really stymies individual thought and initiative, which is really, I don't want to overstate it, but it's anti-American. So this is the kind of common sense legislation where you should be able to hold a job and not agree with the union bosses in your workplace if that's your decision. And so while we don't have the Employee Rights Act specifically, employee privacy protections, majority vote of employees, political protection for employees. These are all things that do really get debated in the Virginia General Assembly, and hopefully we can move the needle forward this year before hopefully I get a chance to go to Washington and do the same.
So, Senator, if you're in Washington and you are the congressman for the 5th District, and as I said, I believe you're the favorite to do that, and the Employee Rights Act comes up, are you going to sign on to it and vote in favor of it?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Let's get back to the state Senate. A couple of weeks ago, you introduced legislation to bring a vote to the floor of the Senate as to why Tommy Norman kicked the media out of the bottom floor, took our tables away, and sent us packing upstairs to the gallery. I was very enthused about that because I would love to see state senators go on the record as to whether or not they want to kick out the media from the floor of the Senate, where you actually have to say you're out or you're in, yes or no, blue or green, white or black, right? What happened to that?
You may yet see that. We're looking to see whether the Fourth Estate is allowed back onto the floor today. If they're not, then it'll either be tomorrow or else we're going to have that vote. And I've made that abundantly clear to leadership. They'd asked for some time to work through this, and I gave that to them. They were very intelligent in how they framed their argument, essentially getting a lot of my peers with whom I'm simpatico, Dick Black, Bryce Reeves, Mark Obenshain, to ask me to give leadership a little bit more time on this. And in that light, I was willing to comply, but I do expect some movement in this area within the next 36 hours. If not, I've made it very clear, and I'm doing it very publicly right now, that we will move to have that vote. So, this is something where I can give a little bit of time, but I'm not giving all the time, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I think it's critical for everybody to be able to see where the senators stand on this. And if you want to kick us out, fine. It got hidden in rules. You guys can hide behind that. I want to see 40 senators, both sides of the aisle, say, yeah, you're out or you're in. And, it got hidden in rules. It's like Amanda Chase, your colleague, freshman Chesterfield. She started the Transparency Caucus with liberal House of Delegates member Mark Levine in Northern Virginia. I'm all for that. But then, Chase voted in favor of the change in the rules and then told me, well, I don't really know what it was. And so I'd like to get everybody on the record.
Yeah, here's what happened. Everybody got those rules 30 minutes before they were supposed to vote on them.
Right.
Nobody could have read them in that time. I've raised something of a stink, and that may be an understatement, about that procedural step. I think if there were to be a vote right now, you'd have a very interesting mix across the political spectrum. But again, I've agreed to not drop the resolution and give leadership essentially another day. That's why we thought this morning we might have a big announcement, and we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you this, not this Monday, but last Monday it was drafted, and if indeed the press is allowed back on the floor, I'm not going to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I'll guarantee it wouldn't have happened without our efforts.
Well, you know what? You might not pat yourself on the back, Senator Garrett, but I'm going to go personally there, take a picture and pat you on the back because you're the only one fighting for us. You're fighting for transparency. Everything else is talk. I want to get these senators on the record as to, are you going to kick us out or not? And, stop the nonsense about rules and galleys and all this other crap. I think you're dead on with it. Keep fighting for us. Now, I got 2 minutes. I got to get to another question. Chap Peterson introduced emergency legislation to scrap the pledge, saying, hey, this is a taxpayer-funded primary. People got to sign things. It's not fair to the poll workers, not fair to the State Board of Election workers, not fair to voters in Virginia. The whole thing is a sham, and he needs to get 80% of the House and the Senate to sign on to it. If it does, Terry McAuliffe was on a show on Friday. He said he'd sign it into law. What say you?
Look, I'll tell you what, I don't like the pledge one bit, but I'm not saying I like Chap. I do. He's a good guy. I don't like the pledge one bit. I'm not real sure that we need to be looking at Chap Peterson to be our white knight here. I don't know what the cliche is. Beware of grease-bearing gifts. But for Chap to ride in and save the day, I'm afraid there might be something we're missing. So while I'll go on record as saying the pledge was a horrible idea, poorly crafted, and poorly presented, I'm not real sure I like the Chap solution either.
That's a fair enough statement, Senator Tom Garrett. Thank you for that. Now, just final question. Look, we have a lot of these people on our show, and they're going to run for Congress, or they're in Congress, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. Then they get up there, and it's career builder 1, 2, 3, and they vie to get on committees, and they vie for the donor money, and they vie for Wall Street. Then all of a sudden, they're voting for Cromnibus and Omnibus. I've only got 15 seconds. I just want a straight answer. If you go up there, Senator Garrett, and you become Congressman Garrett, are you going to fight all the nonsense that goes on in there day after day?
Yeah, I'm not going up there for a career, candidly. Let me plug gundefenselaw.com. I'm going to probably end up taking a pay cut to do this. I don't care. Somebody has to go fight and defend the Constitution and defend opportunity going forward for our posterity. And, it's a fight worth fighting. I'm going to do that. And I'm not trying to win any popularity contest.
Senator, we're out of time. Senator, great answer. We're out of time. Always good to have you on. Keep fighting. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network.